Back when all this had begun, it seemed like the best way to survive it was to imagine the experience as a crucible, a forge maybe, where all the parts that were wrong, cruel, broken could be burned away. There were hopes. Those hopes were announced and agreed with all over the internet. When all this was over, society was going to emerge. A thing everyone said a lot at first: when all this is over, talking with the same mouth about how everything and nothing would change, emerged from this leaner, bruised but resilient, a white hot new thing that gleamed and was fit for purpose. And was that the baby? And oh, everyone meant well. There were great intentions. Within 3 days, they'd set up a local volunteer network, posted info in the windows of the shops in the high street: if you need us, we're here. She felt herself made new with the work. Doorstep drop-offs, tap door run, the dirt stuck under her children's fingernails as they pushed tiny sprouting tatties, khaki balls into the depths of the bags she'd lined up along the one sunny wall of their wee bit of garden. Maybe they'd grow up green-fingered, her children, freed from plastic-wrapped supermarket potatoes. When the first seedling sprouted, her daughter had thought it was a miracle, named each plant after a cartoon character. All these beginnings, all these ideas, it was terrifying, but the possibility of it, well, fundamentally changing society should be terrifying. That's the point we're trying to make. Hang on. Arms outstretched at the top of the stairs to her in a wordless keening. Back to bed, sweetheart. Shh, shh. The arm sandwiched between his heavy head and the flat little pillow began to tingle. And the relief, as she took out her phone and her thumb pulled the screen down, and in it came, because she needed to check, keep checking, because the world changed every time she hit refresh now, got worse and worse, and she needed to know, stay alert. The spike of outrage and anger, a mashing of buttons that weren't even there, just points under sensitive glass. Angry people jumping on fragments without context, spinning them into a mob, a resignation, a lack of a resignation, and a shrug, a scroll, a pull down and refresh, and on to the next. Emoji flags, like pitchforks. Face buried in the crook of her elbow, the baby raised his bum in the air and farted happily in his sleep. She had to drop the phone to muffle the laugh. In the desert, wind blowing his hair, the President of the United States thumped a Bible from the kid's bedroom rug. She might as well just sleep here again. There's a bit more than that in the story, but I thought that was a nice wee excerpt. Creativity. This is what this story looks like. This is not how I usually write. If you can see that on the page, it's all over the place, which was how my mind was working, or not quite working. What I tried to do with this was try and use quite an experimental form of language expression, with thoughts pushed all over the page, to just sort of mimic the constant stream, the difficulty, the break in focus that was occurring, particularly with for people with caring responsibilities. The character in my story as well is somebody who could possibly be involved in building back better, but the physical lack of the village that it takes to raise a child around her takes a toll on her mental health. So that's kind of where I was going with this story.
Thanks very much. How are you sort of thinking about things moving forward in terms of your own work? Are there any trailers as to what you're working on at the moment?
I was writing an apocalyptic novel before all this started, to do with climate change. So I've kind of paused that, but honestly, it felt quite therapeutic being able to write this piece once I'd finally found the form of it. But personally, moving forward, we're just all in this holding pen at the moment, aren't we? And that sort of surge of positivity that there was once we'd kind of got accustomed to it. I think we're all just kind of maybe waiting a little bit to see how that all feels out.
Yeah, indeed. Kirstin, thanks very much indeed.